Thank you very much. And Indira, very happy that you did this invitation. So I will share with you some concerns that we had here in the last years as researchers to kind of orient our research to think about what are the impacts we are creating. And here, the agencies that fund research in Canada ask us to more and more think about the impact. And also, I don't want to get in the topic of politics, but we know very well that there's a lot of questions raising in many countries what are the relevance of the research and academics and so on, right? And then when I was discussing with Indira what I could share with you, so I share this. It's a really personal path, okay? What I have been doing with my colleagues and how I see that. So, and please, I will be very happy to have your comments and to have your thoughts about that. So the talk is conducting research with impact, sensing smart, sustainable, and social purpose. So just to start my background, I'm Brazilian. I think you saw or you heard me speaking Portuguese. So I did my undergrad in information systems, master in industrial engineering, and did my PhD in MIS at Université Laval. So I'm mostly interested on business value of IT. And the themes that I have been working on in the last years is more about digital transformation, Industry 4.0. But I am also interested on the innovation that we need to do in organizations when we are integrating technologies. So collaborative innovation. But also it put many people facing the challenges to deal with technology. So I got interested on the competencies or the literacy related to technologies and the data, and especially about the competence of managers, and also interested on the impact of AI in organizations. So I'm sharing this for a purpose. So you see that there is a reason why I'm sharing that, because I'm sharing this personal path. Okay. So as researchers, we are expected to create more research with societal impact. We are called to make bridges between theory and practice. So we need to align our academic work with some practical applications. But, we can talk about that later, but, there is, okay, it's very beautiful when we put this like that, but put this in practice and public, try to publish this in nice outlets or very high level outlets in our community is very hard. Also, we are called to collaborate across disciplines. So, let's do multidisciplinary and if it's possible, transdisciplinary research. Let's do research that will support public good or inform decision making. Also, let's promote equity, sustainability, and engaging with transparently process on research and do this openly and also ethically. So all of this, it's very compelling for us. I think as we choose to be researchers, as we choose to do this academic path, I think we are kind of idealist people, and we are trying to put all this together. So knowing that, I will share with you my thoughts. So as I mentioned in the description of this talk, how can IS academic research help managers navigate to digital futures while contributing to a more equitable, resilient, and sustainable society? So I tried to, or reoriented my path some years ago when I was preparing for my tenure. And so I said, okay, what I'm doing here? What are the things that I'm interested in? So I'm interested in humans and technologies, how we adopt, how we use this for decision making, and in organizational contexts, how this create value. And also, as I mentioned before, uh, managers face many challenges to integrate or to manage the integration of technology in companies. And most of the time, they don't know what is the value they can get of this, and is it beneficial for their companies? Is it really appropriate for them? Are they ready to do that? So what are the return on the investments? So I got interested on their competencies related to technology in general, and also in collaborative innovation. So I said, okay, this is my main interest. How I fit this interest in the things that we are called to put in practice. So to do that, I will share with you what I understand. So we have seen in the last years many technologies, and we talk about disruptive technologies or emerging technologies, and you see this picture that I like very much because it's very colorful and I think it's very nice. But it's kind of stupid what I'm saying here because this figure is from 2013. But it's still now, more than 10 years ago, we are still talking about disruptive technologies, and we are putting technology in a kind of pedestal saying, oh, it is doing everything for us. Is it really doing? So, but we have these technologies going on, and we needed to support organizations, and we need to conduct research, and we need to teach people that you work on these companies. So, and also these technologies are technologies that are full of data, and they are creating or supporting proposing data creation all the time in data use. So data became a performance source, a source of performance. And also, so we combine new technologies with new forms of work, new techniques of work, and you have the data, so you understand we are facing changes in everyday life in organization. But even in your personal lives, right? Data became a survival source. So we also have data in our social media platforms, in our communications. And I don't know in other countries, but I know in Brazil, WhatsApp is very, 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 very popular. And we are even able to have government services faster than you could have in another channel using WhatsApp. So we know that we need all these connections and all this data, and it becomes kind of part of our day-to-day life. But to do the use of this technology, to get value of this technology, you need to access these machines, any kind of machines, infrastructure. So the machines, what are machines? So it can be physical, digital, or biological technologies, following the definition of Schwab from the Economical Forum, World Economical Forum. And all these technologies, they are bringing more and more triggers that support disruptions. So technologies are, fast-paced. They are changing very much. They are becoming more accessible, wisely, talking about cost wisely or also use wisely. Convergent, and also create explosive effects. So what it means, this figure here, means that many years ago we had, for example, technology that was working separated, let's say 3D printing, we got a possibility to do 3D printing, but it was a local thing. With the internet connection, we start connect digital and physical. But now we are able to print some kind of tissues for alive tissues. So we are connecting physical, digital, and biological technologies. And so this is are creating many possibilities. So combining this, we are facing many progress in the technology, but we are also facing in organizational context many difficulties and challenges to manage that. So this is just for examples of technology. I will not belong here. And this technology to work properly, they need many building blocks. These building blocks, let's say connectivity, interoperability, they need resource sharing, they need us to, because we need a virtualization, modularity. So all these things, these very words are simple, but let's think about for a second how we put this in practice, how this can be very, very challenging, right? So we have the technologies, but we need to master the building blocks. The building blocks is not only about having technological solutions or capabilities. We need also to have competencies or human capabilities. And we need to have processes in the organization that will support the use of these technological capabilities. So again, we need to combine everything, and combining all these capabilities requires for our organizations also to master how to manage the capabilities. It's not only how to manage technologies, but how to manage the capabilities to exploit the value that we have in technology. So the machines are there, they bring opportunities, but they are becoming more intelligent machines. So they are becoming able to learn, to interact with another intelligent machine and humans, and also being more and more autonomy. And also how this is becoming intelligence by connecting. So we are connecting, we are allowing this to, all the machines or the things are connected, the home connected, or everything is connected, right? And these connections are made of Internet of Things, so many objects that are more and more present in our lives. And it's not only in organizational context, also in your day-to-day lives in cities and everywhere. And we are more and more connected and depending on technology to make our lives and our everyday lives. And we are continuously mixing real things, so physical realities with digital realities. Let's say here in this app of IKEA, we are able to visualize how these furnitures fit in this room, right? So we are mixing realities. We are mixing realities looking in an intelligent mirror, seeing what we have in stock in the store, what we have in your catalog online, let's say. So all these possibilities of dematerialization and also in the, let's say, organizational context and also the way we work and more virtually and hybrid modes. So it is creating data constantly. And we see here some images that talks very loud about the growing in the data quantity, but also in the data processing capacity. So all of this that I'm sharing with you, I'm pretty sure that's not new for you. But just to show how I see that, so coming from a path where I see this technology evolution and this data very present more and more in our lives, and we are dealing with intelligent machine. So these are the ingredients of the intelligence. And now we talk more and more about artificial intelligence. We are trying to simulate human intelligence, and we are trying to see humans versus machine. What are the capabilities that the human can bring, and what are the capabilities that AI and the machines can bring. So we are facing all these challenges, and we are combining our intelligences, right? Combining the machines and the human intelligence. We are extracting from our reactions or emotions using very different kind of sophisticated sensors, getting what we are doing, what we are feeling, how we are reacting. So the machines are learning based on many different algorithms. They are understanding better, more and more, how we work as human beings. So there is a race against the intelligent machine and technologies, but we see here we are not there, right? We are continuously trying to imitate the capabilities of the machines. So all these possibilities and capabilities transform the business context and exige and requires that businesses manage multiple innovations at a time. And these are necessary for business to continue in a competitive environment to survive. So innovating products and service, innovating processes, but also innovate in the way they manage their activities. So let's talk about the business continuous innovation. Some years ago, in the area of lean manufacturing and lean approach, so we talked about improved amélioration continue. I forgot the term. Sorry. But now we are talking more about continuous innovation, not only business improvement or continuous improvement. And these innovations, these improvements arrive in many different ways. So it changes the perception of the value, what we perceive of the value of the technologies or the service that it brings. It also changes how we generate value using technologies and how we manage the value chain. So just for you to understand what I'm trying to present here, I'll give you an example. Let's say people around my age, when we were kids, we had this disc to listen to music, right? So when we liked very much a group or a band, you used to buy a disc, album that had, let's say, side one, side A, side B, and we had no choice to have all the songs. So they had a different way to produce music. So the way they generate value for us customers were to produce an album, a physical thing made of plastic, distributed, and so the record place, the organization, everyone. So you understand a little bit about this business. Or if you're too young, maybe you can just visualize a little bit or imagine. But now I have a daughter that is 22. If I propose her to buy an album, she will say, why do that? Why not buy a subscription on Spotify, and I will have music in a limited quantity, in a limited time, where I want, and whatever. And then I can also discover new things. And if I want to sing and share my songs, or if I want to create a digital product, I also can share in this platform. So she sees no value on buying an album. So the perception of value completely changed. based on the technology evolution. The way we generate value completely changed. So the stakeholders that are part of the value chain completely changed. So you understand this are a reality that business having been facing in the last years with the technology evolution, and also it requires them to be more sensing. What it means being able to understand what is going on in their business environment and get this data and use more and more data to do and to make smart decisions. And also they are required to do decisions that will be able to impact in a sustainable way their context, in a economical, in a social, but also environmental perspective. So you understand there's many results relate to these technologies use in the companies, but also there's many challenges. So then we developed a framework that for us helped to understand what a conscious organization could do in the digital age. So using the triggers or the technologies that will create disruptions to think about what are the building blocks I need to put in place to manage and to contribute and to better use these triggers, and also how are the value innovations that will be created if I put these building blocks in place, and how I can become an organization that are more conscious, saying it's more sensing, smart, sustainable, and societal or social, but it's more a societal impact. So this is the framework we developed, and that's guiding my choices of researches and the projects that I'm doing with my colleagues. So these are a kind of framework developing innovation capacities for conscious organizations, helping them to be more sensing, smart, sustainable, and societal impact, better societal impact, because organizations are highly connected, intelligent, responsible, and also more collective. And for that, we need, I'm sorry, there's a small part in French here. Capital human, we needed to bring that on the table. So the competencies, their expertise, the facilitators and the catalyzers, and also the contextualization we do of the projects we are doing. So then I will just pass fast in these definitions, but the important thing is to bring back to the context organization the research we do and we collaborate, and we see that managers are facing many challenges at time. We know that's not only a technology that's changing. We understood they needed to manage different capabilities, and they needed to manage different innovation in different aspects, in the perception of the customer, in the processes inside of the organization, in their relationship with the partners and the suppliers and everyone. And at the center of all this, there is data, a bunch of data and many different kind of data they need to manage, right? Data coming from different kind of systems. So there is many layers of challenge the companies are facing, the managers need to overcome. So organizational capabilities, digital capabilities, but also human capabilities. And the managers are the person that we expected to be able to combine the intelligence of the machines and the technologies, and the intelligence of the humans. But you see here in this graph that we can say the rate of change on technology is much faster than our capability to adapt. So there is always a gap between the technology advanced and our capability to adapt and to be able to catch on the advancing of technology. So the challenge is always there. But also, as researchers, in IS, for example, we cannot cover everything. We needed to make partnerships with colleagues that are in engineering, that are in social sciences, that are in different perspectives, looking for problems and for thinking about how to solve problems in different ways and create innovations in the ecosystems where we are situated or where we are creating this collaboration. And so it's very interesting to create this multidisciplinary projects, because we don't have all the expertise that's needed to adapt and to help people adapt. We don't have all the human capital we need to do all that. So that's a question. So how do that? So how I will show it to you how I've been trying to structure my research and try for a personal choice to do more and more research that has a societal impact. Okay, so trying to bring theory and practice in multidisciplinary ecosystem. So here is just a slide where I mention most of my collaborations or centers or groups where I'm collaborating with people. So it's a lot. It takes time. It's not the same language. So I'm participating I'm the scientific director of this research center on intelligent organization. This is a group inside of my university. We are 18 professors coming from marketing, accountability, accounting, human research, HR, human resource, entrepreneurship, IS, operations management, and innovation management. So we are very multidisciplinary group, but even that sounds very interesting, and it is. It takes a lot of time to create projects together. We don't speak the same language. We don't have the same theories in background. We don't have the same ambitions on publications. We don't target the same outlets for publications. We don't have the same, the same orientation. So it's a lot of things. But we are able to create nice projects that are very well applied and the partners are very happy with. So many trade-offs, and I think you are listening to that, right? There is also another group where I'm happy to collaborate. It's a group in collaborative robotics on manufacturing, CORAM. So these are engineers, and they develop some kind of robots, they test and they work with these robots they want to implement in some manufacturing context, and then they didn't understand why people are not using the robots are so performant, they're thing and that, but they have no understanding about the human factors related to technology adoption. So this is another example. But go and work with engineers that are looking to a device or a robot or arm of a robot, let's say, for a collaborative robot, and try to explain there's human factors. For someone that has a technical background, you're trying to explain them that people have perceptions, feelings, a priori understanding, so different ways to react to a novelty in their work environment. So it's hard because they say, but the robot works very well and the robot will be helpful. Why they don't want this? So it's very hard to build these links and explain to them and create this trustful relationship where you are able to make research and to collaborate in projects. I'm also participating in a research group on supply chain, and we collaborate with some colleagues in operations management. And we have here in Quebec this network, so SDG Innovation Network, SDG for Smart and Digital Green Innovation Network. We are funded basically by the Quebec government, $5 million to do at least 60 projects with SMEs in 5 years. So that's what we are doing. And we have partners from these 8 universities you are seeing here. Again, very nice. It sounds very beautiful on a CV, but in the day-to-day life, it's hard work to put this in practice and to create collaboration first with another colleague and then with a company. And the timing of the companies when we are doing projects are not the same. Their timeline are not the same as we do on research. So you can understand, and again, layers of challenges that we are facing, right? But besides all of that, it's very stimulating environment. So here I'm sharing with you examples of projects. So how I categorize a project and how I define if I am getting involved in a project or not. So I will have these 4 S: sensing, smart, sustainable, and social. So I will see in which category of the project will fit, basically, at most, and how it will contribute to my research program, and how it will be contributing for things that I think will help the organizations to be more conscious. So, for example, one project is the traceability system of the next generation. We are working with a fisher community of fishers for the lobster supply chain in Quebec. So the objective is to help them to be more, let's say, able to manage their reality and get more profit, because in the seafood chain, they are the stakeholders that have the smallest profit margin. And so we are trying to help them using traceability or using blockchain and IoT to having more sensing, so getting more data to be able to decide better how they are doing and how they are selling the lobster. Another example will be data governance for predictive maintenance platform. So this is a platform I work with a colleague in this project, and the objective is to predict the maintenance needs of drones that are monitoring fires in forest. So if you saw in the news, Canada have facing the last years many episodes of fires in the forest. So this is also a project that I thought that was something that could have a social impact. Another way to choose the product is, am I learning something in a smart perspective that will lead me to transfer this knowledge to another sector. So smart is to smart in the decision making, so capable to leveraging data collect and analytical tools. So this will be more how to create the new digital business model. Also smart skills related to that, so the tools that we are able to help HR people to allocate or to train people in the operation floor, shop floor. Another kind of example will be, is it a sustainable project? Does it fit with a sustainable orientation? So, for example, I had the opportunity to contribute in a project about plastic waste management. management in the circular economy in Cameroon. So based in a collaboration with a colleague and also with a student that was doing part of his, her doctoral program at my university. We collaborated in a project, and the objective was to use the longitudinal data to guide decision to reduce environmental impact in Cameroon. Another project is to assessing sustainability in tech companies. So what are the sustainable metrics and outcomes in digital firms, how they are evaluating that. So I'm working with this, with a colleague, and we are using this B Corp certification to see how this certification are increasing the thoughts around sustainability. And the last aspect that are important for me in a research project will be the societal impact. So this is the last project I got funded. It is with the food banks, and food pantries. Food bank and food pantries. So we are giving them support to develop a platform and to work with the volunteers, because most of the volunteers have a very low level of literacy to use the technology. And then we are trying to see how we can have them involved in the project in a very early stage in the implementation, and to reduce the barriers for them to help the food pantries and the food banks to get more technology to manage their operations. And also another project that I'm collaborating with people in Brazil, in UTFPR. It's about human in Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0. So try to promote inclusive innovation and gender equity and digital transformation. So this, as you see, there's a lot of criteria. So I try to see, okay, how does it fit in my program, how it fits in my path, how will you justify why I'm working in this project. And also, it has been a way for me to show the impact and to show how as a research, I am conducting the orientation of my research. But, there is many benefits that I can share with you. So we learn a lot. We have more thoughts about the projects we are doing. So doing societal relevance and systemic solutions, helping the organizations to integrate knowledge. Also, work with them to put this in place and to have their engagement, to use the technology we deploy or to understand better what's going on. And also creating some kind of training for them to integrate the project in a better way. There is also many, many challenges doing collaborative and multidisciplinary research. The challenges will be, as I mentioned before, this epistemological diversity across disciplines. So the most we try to collaborate with people that are very different, the most we will need to work upfront to establish a vocabulary, a common understanding. That's a lot of nuance that sometimes we think we understood, but we didn't. So there's a lot of work doing that. So coordination complexity in multi-partner projects also. So data integration and the ethical alignment, because when we work with data and data with companies, and so there is also this concern around ethic and in the ethical way to conduct the research, but also in the time and the resource intensity. As I mentioned before, Sometimes the timeline of the company or the organization is not the timeline of the researchers or the students that are working in the project. So it's many challenges also to take in account there. So I will stop here. It was, as I mentioned, more a way to share with you what I'm doing, and if can create a conversation for us to think more and more how we can see our impact as researchers, how we can propose and orient our career around researchers. And I forgot to add in the slides, but I mentioned, and I will repeat that, it's very nice doing research, do research with partners and collaborators. It's very hard to publish in pure IS outlets after. So, obrigada, thank you, gracias, merci. And I'm very happy to discuss and hear your questions. Please do not hesitate to talk with me.
A wonderful presentation. You definitely raised many issues that we all have to face, and it's admirable how you do that. Thank you so much for sharing and also motivating everyone with your great energy. I think it's very nice. Congratulations for all the work you're doing. We are going to go ahead and see if we have questions from the audience. Please go ahead if you can just type your question in the chat or mute your microphone.
Thank you, Indira. And again, it's not, I'm not saying this is the truth and that that's the way you should do that. I'm just very concerned about that. And so this is open for conversation. Please go ahead, Alexander.
Yeah, I have a question for Elaine and Indira, if you allow me. In this multidisciplinary research group that you organized among all those universities and people that are collaborating, do you have philosophers among yourselves? And before you answer, I have to say it's my impression over the last 10 years or so is that we as IS people would need to connect to philosophers now, because I mean, in the past it was very clear where the humans were, where the organizations were, where the technology were, you know, that beautiful drawing that you did there. But nowadays it's becoming each time less clear where humans are in this. And of course, we still believe that we should somehow be in control. And to be in control, we have to decide first what we want to be in control of, right? And I think those kinds of questions are what are we searching with all the development of technologies that we do now. And I think that those are more philosophical questions than the questions that we pose as very technology focused people in general.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting concern. And yeah, I think we should question that. In the group, we do have someone from philosophy, but he converted himself in a professor in HR. So, you know, he's, yeah, still working on human resources and bringing a ethical perspective in some projects. But yeah, we don't have much these discussions about what are the roles. But I think in IS, sometimes we got too much philosophical. And should we do that or should not? But again,
yeah, I think we're not prepared to do that, but I think it's something that humanity needs to do. You know, it's not IS people. Humanity in general, we should start asking, what do we want with the technology that we are developing? Because the technology that we create is reshaping us as humans. You know,
totally, yeah. And he's shaping us, he's shaping organizations and reshaping, you know, our lives. And yeah. And also the relationship we have with technology and the relationship we have with another human beings, right? So yeah, it's kind of intense.
Let's get more practical. I think that there's a question there by Nadia and Yuri.
Yes, we have a couple of questions.
Yeah, where is it?
Carlos is the first one. He has a question about the publishing. Let me see. Thank you for the presentation. You say that it's very difficult to publish in an MIS journal. So, which journals are you going for?
Okay, I've been publishing in operations management or some multidisciplinary papers in multidisciplinary journals like technological forecasting, social change. But you know, many projects are applied, and it includes operations research, operations management colleagues. And as I have a background on industrial engineering, I'm very comfortable in this area. So in this space, so we are, you know, we are able to talk the language of operations management kind of easily, but you know, it's hard. Yes, it's especially if we are talking about the basket of 8 of 11. But anyways, you need to be more in a theoretical contribution much harder than we do working with companies like that. And also, that's a point that I didn't add to the presentation, but I would like to mention is, you know, in the United States, we have this categorization from the Carnegie-Mellon R1 universities and R2 universities. In Canada, we don't have exactly the same, but we kind of understand. And I am in a R2 university, and our focus is not really to have the best top publications, but the objective of our university is to create impact and to create partnership research. So they have especially kind of provost not only for research, but also for innovation and partnership. So it depends what our university are also asking for us in the progression of our career. The benefit of that is if you take the path of your university, you are going very easily. And it happened to me, so I got all the tenures very easily, going through this way and following what the university expected, but also fitted with my profile. But at the same time, you know, paradoxically, is that I was not focused on getting top A papers published in a very, you know, IS outlet like let's say MISQ or ISR, and it. So we can also get stuck in the context we are. And so there's trade-offs. So we need to be aware of that very early in our career and to understand what we are doing and what are the impacts, what we are creating for ourselves. And if you are in a different moment of your career, so what you are trying to do? Are you trying to move? Maybe you need to realign your things and realign your thoughts and maybe get more strategical, sorry, in the way you are trying to move. But there is this, you know, these trade-offs, and we are always facing these trade-offs. We can do very theoretical research that will be much less impactful in the reality. There is another kind of value. So I don't want to say here it's right or wrong. It's just different ways to build our career. And as we are have been questioned more and more by the society to prove what are the value of academics, so maybe we need to question ourselves what kind of career we are doing, you know. So thank you for the question. So there's another question. What are the deliverables for the project?
And how do you plan to give them for communities? Do you have any government entity within the group?
Yeah, so the deliverables, they are, you know, they can be very different. Depends. It depends on the project. So our university has a kind of office that help us to sign kind of research protocol that will guide what we will define as deliverables. And also in Canada, we have agents that fund research in partnership with companies. So we get funded much easily by this MyTax, that's the name. If you're curious to discover, I can just write in the chat for you to search MyTax. So they fund research. The company, let's say they will pay $7,000 and the MyTax will put $7,000. So you have $15,000 to pay a student for 5 months, 6 months to do a project. So then it costs much less for the company to do R&D. So then the deliverable will be very attached to the need of the company. So us, as a research, we need to define what will be the scientific contribution. But for the company, we needed to show what they need. So then we try to combine. So sometimes there is also this kind of the thing. So let's say can be a tool, as we did for HR. We developed a kind of dashboard, but we worked with them identifying what were the KPIs or how they organize the data to be able to define what are the skills they need. In another project, we assessed data literacy competencies, for example. So we developed a tool that the company are able to assess the data literacy. So it's a financial company. There's a paper on 2023. I present that in Panama. So we developed this tool for a financial company. They were able to evaluate what are the data literacy level for all employees, and they could put in place a kind of training program to improve the competencies of the people, depending on their targets. But for us as researchers, we understood more what is data literacy, how we can measure that. So I'm working on this project still now, and let's see if ISR will be able or interested on my paper. But it's hard, right?
Nice. From a practical perspective, is it hard to get partners in the industry to do that? Is it like somebody does for you, or do you still have to reach out to them? And how do you get these industry partners to collaborate with you and participate in that program? And then how do they measure your effectiveness? Like, do they give you because you said in one of your sentences, you said, that the partners, where they were happy with it or they were not, how do they tell you? How does that operationally happen?
So in general, so how it works is, let's say, I prefer to work with a need that someone brought to me. So a company brought, and we have this office at our university that gets companies that drop a need, send a need to them. Say, oh, I'm searching someone to help with this problem. So then they will try to see inside the university who could have this kind of competency and who could be interested to work with this company. So then, let's say the project came to me. So I say, okay, this is not a research project. This is a consultant project. I'm not interested, So in the convention that we have here as professors, we have like 1 day per week we could do a consultant project. We have this kind of liberty, or freedom. But I usually I don't do that. So I say, okay, I'm not interested. There is nothing new here. This is a consulting project. So I will give a feedback for this office. And then sometimes the person from the company will come back and say, okay, let's discuss what could be the research aspect in this project. So then we try to define that. And then as we are defining what will be the project and what will be the deliverables, we will define also what will be the KPIs, what we will measure at the end. So
Nice.
and we have a report to send to them at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting, and each project has a student. Here it's easy for us to use the metaphor based on American football, that you have the quarterback just sending the ball, and then you need someone that you take the project and you run, right? So the person that takes the project and run is the student,
Right. Yeah,
So,
good.
yeah.
I'm so glad that you shared with us your experience. Thank you so much, Elaine.